Okay, so in this tutorial, we will be going over what we call light linking. That's where I'm gonna make an extra light, and the reason why I'm gonna make this extra light is I wanna have a nice little kick over here, and over here. It's a little dark and dull, and in terms of a visual design sense, this black here gets lost in translation with the background black. See? So I want a light to kick on these edges. But if I add another light, it's gonna blow out my text over here. And I don't want that. So this is where light linking comes into play. So first thing I want to do is I want to create another area light. Again, I'm going to go to Arnold, Lights, Area Light. But I also want to turn off my interactive rendering. It slows down my computer. I'm going to hit W. I'm going to pull it out. And I'm gonna stretch it. I'm gonna make it tall. I'm not gonna make it wide, because like I said before, the bigger you make your area light, the more of a softer, diffused reflections you will get. I want more of a high kick to my reflections. I'm gonna hit E for rotate. I'm gonna rotate it like this, and I'm just gonna guess where it's gonna assume, see, where it's gonna hit. So maybe more of an angle like this. I'm gonna maybe turn it a little bit like that, making sure you rotate along the axis. Whatever you do, don't rotate free willy, okay? Just make sure you know what axis you're gonna rotate. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna guess that's how it's gonna hit. Okay, I'm gonna go into my attribute editor. Like I said before, for your area lights, you're gonna want this to say 100 and exposure to say like 1, and then let's do a quick render. I'm gonna go hit that, and I'm gonna go render update. Ooh. Alright, hold on. Okay, so this is before. No, this is before. This is after. Now it's gonna be after. This is after. So let me save it. Before, after. But it looks like it didn't do much. It only highlighted my text, and it's kind of starting to blow out a little. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move it some more. Okay. And maybe I'm gonna move it up a little. Okay. Maybe I'm gonna rotate a little bit more, like that. Alright, so you notice that it doesn't really do much, see? Let me hit cancel. Let me go back into my render globals. Like I said before over here, I'm gonna push this down to just back to 3. Okay? And I'm gonna leave the diffuse, the bounces, the 2 bounces from before was set to 1. I'm just gonna leave that still at 2. The camera sampling, where it cleans up the noise, see how it came back? I'm gonna just set it back to 3 because I want the render times to be quicker. I'm gonna close that out. See, now it's 2 seconds. So what I'm gonna do is under the attributes for our this area light, I'm gonna start cranking things. Maybe the exposure, set it to 2. Alright, 2. Okay. And then the intensity, or let's set it to 5. Oh, okay, now we're starting to see a little bit more over here. See that? See? Now look, if you notice, it blows out our text, but we're gonna fix that. But I just want you to notice that I have this little highlight starting to show up. Okay. Maybe I'll rotate it a little, and I'll hit the R, making sure that like this. See how I made this? I stretched this up tall wise. See how now you have this little highlight here and here. Before, after. See? That's what I was looking for. Let's make it some more. See? More here, here. Bring it back down. Hit W. I'm gonna pull it up a little. Okay, and then I'm gonna maybe rotate it a little more this way. Hit W. So I get more of an aggressive angle. There we go. So before, after. See, we got that line, that line, that line. See? Okay, so we got that. But our text is super bright and blowing out, which I had to do because it wasn't picking up the highlights. You know, because I set the exposure to 5 now. Before it was set at 1, I set it to 5 to get that much more kick. Now if I set to say 7, you definitely see it now. Even here, see, watch. Before, after. So much of a huge difference. Now it looks starting to look more artistic or stylized. Before, after, much nicer. But our text is too blown out and this is not acceptable. Now this is where the light linking comes in. Okay, so making sure we're under rendering the menu set. Lighting, shading. Again, lighting, shading. Light linking editor. Okay, light linking editor. Light centric. Pop that open. Here it is. Another menu to deal with. But it's not hard. All we're going to do is making sure we have our area light 5, the one that we made, selected. Select it over here. Okay. Now if you notice here, this box shows light sources. This column shows illuminated objects. I just want to make sure that my stripes are selected. So right now if you look here, it's kind of bluish color. That means that these are all linked. I'm gonna ungroup my Adidas group. The Adidas group is actually the text, and watch what happens. Let me save this. I'm gonna hold down Control. For Macs it should be Command. Now I'm gonna click left mouse click over this. Now if you notice, the text is not being illuminated, but my polygon stripes, these blocks, are still illuminated. Before, after. Let me save that. Alright, so highlighted and blown out. Now not blown out, but over here is highlighted. And that's this lesson. Again, to review, we made another area light. Okay, I zoomed in like this. If you look over here, okay, and I kind of tilted it down. All right, I made sure I tilted it down so it's at an angle. I'm kind of close, but not too close, just enough. Then I set my intensity to 100. My exposure, instead of my usual 1, I set it to 7 to crank it up. And what that did was it blew out my font. So I went into my relationship editor, which is light linking, which is under lighting and shading. Make sure you're on the renderings menu, lighting and shading. Again, light linking editor, light centric, and this menu pops up. Select your light, deselect your Adidas group, that's your text. You deselect it by holding the Control or Command and left mouse. And that's pretty much this tutorial.